And one of the things that's super heartening to me, because I track these numbers, is to look at the numbers on where startups are happening. And you know, startups, hearing Mayor, they were only going to happen in the suburbs, right? They were only going to be in office parks in the so-called Nerdistans. And to see the startup revolution in America coming, you know, to parts of lower Manhattan, and of course, but you know, moving back from Silicon Valley to San Francisco, companies going into Newark, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, where I lived for 20 years, what's happening with companies, and you know, Jane Jacobs, that old notion, that idea, new ideas require old buildings. That there's something in the air of cities and history that creates entrepreneurial enterprise. And I think what Carol said, so many cities, not only the big cities that we had counted for dead, are beginning to see, New Orleans, another, where Walter's from, all of this activity that's happening is really heartening. What do you think are some?
I guess I'd say the other example we have when I try to frame this in the New York lens and what you said, if you look at the last decade in Brooklyn, that here you have a top 10 city in the United States, that really the story just gets better and better. And you know, there's a lot of wind in the sails, so you know, it looks good, but that's really a good example of where you've had and now Brooklyn is the place that lots of the new economy companies want to be. And if you look at the real estate success in Dumbo, and people have figured out creative class, mixed use success, people now take the ferry from Williamsburg down to Dumbo with their dog and bike and go to work and then enjoy lunch in Brooklyn Bridge Park. And this is just something that was unimaginable a decade ago.
And if you went back and unpacked that, you know, what are the 2 or 3 things that you think were key to setting Brooklyn on that path?
I think number one is public safety. That, as someone said the other day, I wish I'd thought of it, that the public safety success makes New York a bigger city. And so I think the other thing would be some very long-term decisions on real estate where developers made decisions to try to invest in Dumbo, which basically rebirthed it. And then if you lay down next to that this transportation, where you look now, we have under Mayor Bloomberg's leadership, we have all kinds of new methods of transportation, new systems. The ferry system, the bike system, these are brand new. They didn't exist a decade ago. And then the last kind of icing on the cake is really the parks and the quality of air and quality of life. And it goes back to something I tried to say earlier. What I just described is a lifestyle that competes with Portland, Seattle, and Boulder. And so you can be the same person and have that life here.